welcome to my basement. For those watching this after it was live, I figured moving forward from the channel, I usually do long form video editing, showing you stuff I'm homebrewing, but I figured editing takes a lot of time. And I figured in between episodes, we could do this. We could do a live stream of me just doing a check-in on all of our brews we have. So I'm gonna get everything situated because I think today I've already sanitized. You can't see it, but I've got all my stuff over here sanitized. So I think today we're gonna rack off our Jolly Rancher wine. And not this one. That's our sugar wash, which will eventually become a Jolly Rancher wine. I'm talking about this one. Let me get all my stuff out of the way. I'm talking about this one. Because it's kind of going clear. Not quite fully, but we did just do a reading on this. My first live stream was, what, 2 days ago, I think? So this one, I can give you the rundown on it. This one started on September 2nd. Against everything in my being, this batch was the bane of this batch was the bane of my existence. So I gave up on it. I didn't think it was going to ferment at all. Luckily, only after I started a sugar wash did this one actually start fermenting. So it was started on September 2nd. Today is October 17th. So we're a month and a half in, and this is on 10/10. I swore I did a reading on this earlier, I thought. Anyway, so the last reading we did on this was on October 10th. Had a gravity of 1.026, otherwise known as sitting at about 10.5% alcohol by volume. How did I get that number? This one started at a gravity of 1.106, and it went down to 1.026. So you take the 1.106, subtract 1.026, and that number you multiply it by 131.25. That gets you 10.5%. That was a week ago. So we're gonna do another reading on it. If it's dropped more, I'm leaving it alone. If it hasn't dropped any, we're gonna rack it off into secondary fermentation, which is really just a fancy way of saying we're gonna move it from this fucking container to this container so all that gunk can settle out. Right, right now you can, well, I don't know if you can see, but there's a foamy liquid in there. That is sanitizing solution. That is so there's no bad bugs in here. We want good bugs, microbes, whatever you want to call it. So I figured, what can I talk about if I'm live streaming? Because I am not that interesting enough to watch, I didn't think. I'm not that interesting. So I figured I could get into what got me into home brewing in the first place. Someone said, hi. I cannot pronounce your name, but hello. I would probably butcher the pronunciation of your name. Apologize. Anyway, so what got me into home brewing? If any of you are familiar, there's I don't know if he still makes content, a guy by the name of Catfish Cooley. Catfish Cooley had a video where he took juicy juice and added sugar and put bread yeast in it, and it fermented to wine. You're cool, right? What's up? Well, hello, everybody. So I watched that. I did that, which is kind of like a really cheap way to make wine, but I did it, it worked, and I was hooked. So shortly after that, I found a YouTube channel by the name of City Steading Brews with Brian and Derica, and they have paved the way for me to really dive into the home brewing aspect. But so I've got a new setup down here because usually I just film and edit my videos. This time I figured I'd just go live and show you the process of doing gravity readings, taking your notes, all that fun stuff. So we may change camera positions every once in a while. I don't know how long my live streams are going to be. I was figuring somewhere along the lines of maybe 20-30 minutes, however long it takes me to do gravity readings. I'm the king and the number one. I'm the number one and king. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm not familiar with live streaming, so I'm not sure what the one. I think that just means like you're the number one person interacting with it. If anyone knows what that means on his name, let him know, because I don't. So, moving forward so we actually get some stuff done. Shit. Like always. Well, guys are gonna have to wait a minute, and you're gonna see a blank screen, because I have to go upstairs and get my turkey baster, otherwise known as my poor man's wine thief. Son of a bitch. All right, we're back with more equipment. We've got 15 people. Oh, I'll be right back. People saying hi, 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 hi. So as I said, turkey baster, otherwise known as a poor man's wine thief. So we're gonna use the baster to pull some liquid out of this. You can't see it. Pull liquid out of this, put it into this graduated cylinder, and use a hydrometer, which is measuring the density of the liquid or just letting me know how much sugar is in the liquid. But before I put this anywhere near the inside of this, I have to sanitize it. Sanitizing thing of choice, you've seen it in all my videos if you're familiar to the channel. I use Star San mixed with water to the manufacturer's suggestions, and then I put it in my spray bottle. So now I'm gonna spray. And it gets a mess everywhere. If you can't tell, there's a reason this channel is called Brewing in the Basement, because everything's done in the basement, because I'm pretty sure my wife would have a conniption fit if I had all this shit upstairs. Plus the smell. It's so sad there are people in the world that have to slowly kill themselves with vapes. Well, I look at it this way. I can either slowly kill myself with a vape, or I can kill everyone around me really quickly if I don't have it. And it's better than a cigarette. Trying to give it up. I know, it's a nasty habit. It is a nasty habit. If it offends you, I can do it off camera if you would prefer. But it's also a sad rule where people slowly kill themselves every day by drinking alcohol. But here we are, making alcohol at home. So for any of you that just joined in, if you're not sure what you're looking at here, is really weird looking fluid. This is 1.5 pounds of blue raspberry Jolly Rancher candy dissolved into water, and then add a pinch of yeast into it and try to let it ferment into a wine. It has fermented. Last we checked, it was at about 10.5% alcohol by volume. I was shooting for around 13% is what I'm really wanting. That will mean that this will go completely dry. Dry meaning there's no residual sugars. But these fucking lids, oh God. Okay, so we're gonna crack this open. I sanitized everything. Everything is sanitized. Should be no issue here. Let's take a smell. Does not smell like blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers. Does not. But we're not really worried about the smell, we're worried about the taste. And I have not tasted this once yet. I've been a little nervous. But you can see that all that blue color, oh boy, all the blue color from the Jolly Ranchers is gone. Okay, it didn't move much. So it's not blue, and that's because the dyes inside the candy actually fell out of suspension. But it will have a pale-ish blue color, and I'm not sure what to back sweeten with. For those of you that don't know, back sweeten means after you ferment a beverage, you add sugar to it to bring up the residual sweetness. What do you say here? Goku or Gojo? I'm back. Well, welcome back. Anyway, so back sweetening is just adding sugar to your must to bring the residual sweetness back up. So if any of you have ever had a dry wine, I don't know, maybe you like it. I personally do not. I prefer my wine sweet, and what better way, and if it's a Jolly Rancher wine, it has to be sweet. It can't be dry. So we're gonna look at our gravity reading right here, and it did go down some more. It went down to 1 point. Oh, I gotta gotta make sure I read this right. 1.018. What is the date today? The 17th? 10, 17, 1.018. So that's going to be closer to about the 11%. 11% alcohol by volume, but now this is going to be dry-ish, and I have yet to taste this because I've been nervous or scared to. So now you all get to see the live reaction to, is this shit going to taste good or not? I already have an idea, but there's only one way to find out, and that means we're going to take a small sample, because we're not going to rack this because it did drop some more. But it is still a little cloudy. We're wanting that to clear, and of course we'll let it settle out fully and clear before we rack back sweetened bottle. So I'm going to put this, just pour this right back into here gently. We do not want to incorporate oxygen. Oxygen is not your friend after you have fermented a liquid into alcohol. Do not want oxygen. That will cause what they call oxygenation, which can cause off flavors. There, it can cause off flavors. Not palatable, you know what I mean? But so I'm just gonna be rambling here because, like I said, I'm still new to the whole live thing. So if I start repeating myself a lot, I apologize. If I don't read your comment immediately, I apologize. I'm still getting used to having to come in and read. Let's see. I need to know this. Clients say they made this in jail. Yeah. The original video, or not video, the original video that made me get into making wine was a way to make hooch, or I'm not sure what they call it in prison or in jail, but it's what they would use to ferment alcohol in prison. Rack, back, sweeten, and bottle. Yeah, that would be okay, that's terminology. So racking is really just using this to move it from this container into another container or vessel, which I would be racking into this. All racking means is moving the liquid from here to another fermenter to let it settle out and clear some more. So I don't know. Should I try it? Should I not? It smells like wine. It does smell like wine, but I have a feeling it's probably not going to taste the greatest because it is still young. They did this on a TV show, MASH. Oh, did they? Not really. Haven't really watched much MASH, but I did when I was younger. My grandparents always watched it. But so this is the first one of these things we're going to do on the live stream. I'm going to kind of touch base on all the batches I have going. But we'll go ahead and get a taste of this, even though I know I'm probably going to regret it, and it's not going to taste good with my coffee. But let's see. Holy shit, that's going to be dangerous. Wow. Okay. That is a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. It tastes like a Jolly Rancher. Like 100% tastes like a blue raspberry Jolly Rancher. So now the question with back sweetening this, originally I had intended on using more blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers to back sweeten, but those are going to be used for this because this is a sugar wash, because I didn't think this was going to work. So I kind of gave up on this and set it off to the side, forgot about it, started this to ferment sugar and water to alcohol, then add the candy to it later, because in this candy there's a lot of preservatives, artificial, I about said seasonings, artificial flavorings that can inhibit or harm the yeast, and it makes it hard for them to ferment. But this one is chugging along, and this is going to be fucking dangerous. Pardon my French, but it's going to be dangerous. I could drink a couple bottles of this. Wow. Not what I was expecting, but a happy, pleasant surprise today down in the wine room. Okay, so I'll leave it to you guys. Between each one of these, I have to run upstairs, rinse out my equipment, and then re-sanitize it. But there's anyone still in here, which one should I test next? So the orange one is the pumpkin pie mead. I have not tasted that yet. Please don't make me do it. The milky white colored one, that is the sugar wash for the other Jolly Rancher batch we have going. And then this one here is my Viking Blood Red Label. That's a cherry mead. So it's made with tart cherries, cherry juice, honey. And at last we checked that one, it had fermented to 15%. But we need to know which one I should do next. I think I'm gonna go upstairs and rinse this stuff out. Let's see if I should do the pumpkin. I'm gonna have to taste the pumpkin pie one. If you haven't watched my channel, if you go to my channel, you can see the pumpkin pie episodes that it's almost a failure, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. So I'm gonna rinse all this stuff out and clean it so I don't cross-contaminate any of my batches. So while you guys are waiting, let me know which one you think I should do. Should I do the pumpkin pie? Should I do the sugar wash? Or should I do the Viking Blood? Let me know when I get back. That's the one I'll do. If no one gives me a suggestion, I'll just do whatever the hell I want. All right, see you in 2 seconds. Oh, we're back. We're back. Okay, no suggestions. Okay, then I guess I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want then. Which means I have to taste the pumpkin pie. Firstly, let me sanitize everything, including my hands. I don't know what everyone's getting into today, but where I'm at, it is a dreary, cold, rainy day. And I figured no better way to spend the day than drinking coffee and working on my alcohol. So, I guess I'm just gonna do the pumpkin pie next. And like I said, if you have never seen my channel, full episode on this one, which is what I thought was gonna be a complete, total failure. I still did think so that this was gonna be a fail until about, I don't know, 4 days ago when I did my first live stream. I opened it, I smelled it, and I went, so when I first did this, this was a gallon of water, honey, fermented, and then I added 3 pounds of pumpkin puree. If you're a home brewer and you're ever going to try to make a mead that tastes like pumpkin pie, do not fucking use a can of pumpkin puree. Just don't do it. If you want to know why, go to my channel and look at the video of what happened to me. That's why I'm left with a half gallon out of a whole gallon batch. Because pumpkin is a pain in the ass to clear out of a fermentation. And I didn't know that till I was knee deep in it. It smells like pumpkin pie. So after we fermented this, we added 10 allspice berries, a stick of cinnamon, and a clove, and some freshly sliced ginger. Kind of put all the flavor notes of pumpkin pie. And I'm probably gonna have to spice it again because I don't think there was enough spice. I'm still finicky with spicing because I'm not very used to it. I don't make much spiced brews. But this one, you have to have spices in this one because pumpkin pie has spices in it. Pumpkin spice, whatever you want to call it. Oh boy. Yeah, so this one has no Like no residual sugar. Is that even floating? Oh, Lord have mercy. Now, if you don't know the whole lingo with home brewing or what I'm talking about or what I'm saying, what I'm doing right here is I'm checking the gravity. That's just a fancy way of saying I'm measuring how much sugars or how dense the fluid is. And this thing went dry. I don't even remember the last time I did a reading on this one. Let's see. Pumpkin pie. Oh, September 25th. It was at 1.018. It is a lot lower than 1.018. Right now we're at 0.994. So 10, 17, 0.994. Now I'm taking all these notes so I can use this later off camera to figure out my gravity, but I'm scared about tasting this because it's so dry. I am nervous. If you watch on my channel, the episode of the pumpkin pie, the way it smelt after I added the pumpkin, the only way I can explain it is it smelled like a fucking swamp. It was nasty. Now, this smells a little bit more pleasant. It does smell like a pumpkin pie. But as I said, it's not sweet because we're going to add, I don't know if you guys can see what this is. This is called lactose. This is a sugar derived from milk. Why do I have that? Because unless you're a complete psychopath, pumpkin pie comes with a topping. Whipped cream. And I'm talking Cool Whip, not that Ready Whip aerosol can bullshit. Cool Whip or whipped cream or homemade whipped cream if you do that. I wanted that in the flavor notes of this mead, and I did some research and found that lactose gives a very creamy mouthfeel. And it'll just add a viscosity to it that'll kind of give that whipped cream note, I guess you could say. But now, so it is slightly clearing, not by much, but enough. It does smell reminiscent of pumpkin pie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say, oh, it smells just like pumpkin pie. No, it doesn't. Close, but now you're really I'm not gonna be able to fake it. And I'm not taking much. I'm taking maybe that much because I don't need much. And so this, as you can see, all that on the bottom, that is sediment. That is just solids falling out of suspension. And pumpkin is extremely hard. I'm probably going to have to cold crash this. If you don't know what cold crashing is, let me pour this. I have to do that very carefully. Because last I remember, this one's probably going to be oxidized because racking this was a pain. I'll pour this back in. That'll get all that sediment up in suspension, which I did not want, but sacrifices must be made. Put the airlock back on it, and I don't know if you can see, but in my airlock, look at all that. That's what your airlock is for. That stops fruit flies from getting into your fermentation. Because the process of fermentation is really just rotting fruit. And fruit flies love the smell of rotting fruit. God, I don't want to do this. Don't make me do this. I have to do this. I mean, it does smell kind of like pumpkin pie. Can't fake it. It's going to be dry, so my face is probably going to go, oh, yeah. Here we go. I got a poker face. It's close. Close. But it's not sweet. Let's follow that up with a nice swig of coffee. Yeah, that one's going to need a lot of work. But I knew that. I knew that coming into this. And I knew everyone telling me I was crazy or how stupid I was. And you're right, I was. But but we're going to leave that one alone, I do believe. Oh, wait, better do this off camera. Someone didn't like it that I was vaping, so that's why I have to do it off camera now. So now, what can I do? I do have a 5-gallon batch of rhubarb going right behind you. You can't see it, but I can do this. So there's our 5-gallon batch of rhubarb. That over here is our tropical wine. And of course, from earlier, you have all of our black currant. That is an apple kiwi. And then we have our Viking blood, our sugar wash, and the dreaded pumpkin pie. So it's been just a really kind of shitty weather today, and it's can't go outside and do anything. So we're all just shut up in my house today, but I think we're going to do a reading on the sugar wash next. That's my plan. So I'm going to rinse everything out again. And we're going to do a reading on this, which is just sugar and water and yeast and nutrients. That's all this is. So if you were to take this out and taste this, this would probably taste like a hard seltzer. It's carbonated, and it'll taste like water and ethanol. Pretty much a hard seltzer. So this is the foundation for these. 1.5 pounds of those going into this and dissolving to see what the flavor profile difference would be from this one compared to the one I just opened up and tasted earlier, which actually tasted pretty good. This one, all the process of fermentation was done here before we added the candy, so the candy won't inhibit or harm or stress our yeast colony at all. And it should give you more of like the candy flavor, more prominent than this one back here. That's the plan. Is it going to work? I don't know. We are in the process. This has been going, because this is called the Jolly Rancher Redemption. This has been going since September 16th. My Jolly Rancher has been going since September 2nd. So it was like 2 weeks. I didn't see much activity in the fermenter. I said, screw it, we're making a sugar wash. And here we are in mid-October. So I'm going to rinse off my equipment. We're going to do a gravity reading on this because the last time I checked it... Oh. No, we're not going to do a reading on this because the last time I checked it was the 16th and it was at 1.040. So I don't know what the point would be to do another reading other than just to have more camera time. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Screw it. I'll be right back. I got to rinse out everything. Again. Where did I put my... There it is. I got to rinse out the equipment. I'll be right back. Okay, then we're back again and again and again and again. So, since we're back again, and the only reason I'm doing this is for camera time and to entertain the 2 of you that are watching. Thank you for watching, by the way. Because, like I said, I am new to this whole live thing on YouTube. Never really done it before. This is only my second live stream. So I don't know how to be entertaining or draw a crowd, an audience that wants to stay and watch what I'm doing. So I'm just going to forget that you guys are there. So if I don't respond to you, I apologize. All right, gravity reading number 3. Take our bung off. Boom. take a smell. It smells like rubber because it smells like the bung that was in the fermenter. Get the rest of our sanitizing fluid out, and we are going to pull a sample. This one, I'm not even going to bother tasting because there's no point. There's no flavor into this. This is, like I said, a sugar wash. And sugar washes are a wash in general is normally done more on the side of distilling or distillation. You would make a wash and then you would ferment, or you would make a wash and you would distill that into a spirit. We're not distilling here. I mean, you could freeze distill if you really wanted to, but that's legal. So let's see. 1.038. It went down 2 points in one day. That's actually impressive because it had stalled 038. Okay. And I know it's so entertaining. It's so much fun. Yeah, the rain's really coming down now. Well, so we're not going to add anything to this. We're not going to put the Jolly Rancher candy into it yet. Still has a little bit more time to go. I'm hoping this will be ready by Thanksgiving. Might be pushing it. So now we're going to do our last reading, and it's on my favorite one. Because everything else I have doesn't need readings done. Why? Because they're in secondary. They're not dropping in gravity anymore. This one, however, definitely needs a reading. This is our step feed. And we just added honey to this about a week ago. We added 1 pound, 10 ounces of honey. So if it were to drop any more, which it probably has, our goal is to get this one to 18%, which is what the first batch, because this is what you would call a clone. Or by that I just mean this is one that I am trying to mimic a batch I made before. And I already showed the bottle in my last episode. But the point of a step feed is to not stress your yeast colony, but yield a high potential alcohol by volume. That's the whole point of that. So we're going to see if it worked. Now this one is by far my favorite to make. Ooh yeah, smells like cherries. Let's see what we're looking like. Now it is not clear at all, which is making me wonder if fermentation kicked back up again since we added honey, which is very, very possible. Not very, very, it's probably almost 100% definitely fermenting again. And if it is, I'm gonna have to do even more math to figure out what our ABV has come to. But let's see what we're looking at. And I said after I added honey to this, it went to a gravity 1.044. We're at 1.042, so it went down 2 points in a week. 1.042. That's probably pushing it close to 16% alcohol by volume. At least that's what we're hoping for. But now, that's that, folks. So carefully pour this back in, trying not to break the surface, or splash or splosh. And we'll leave a little sample of it for me. See what it tastes like. Screw the lid back down, clamp it on tight, even though I'll regret doing that the next time I need to open it. But, so this is called Viking Blood. Viking Blood is just a mead made with tart cherries. My favorite. I mean, this is hands down. When I make this, I have everyone wanting a bottle of it. And moving forward, I'm thinking, no. A select few can get a bottle of it, but this is mainly for me. But let's see what it's tasting like. Very sweet, because we just back sweetened it a week ago. Good cherry flavor. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but anytime I make a cherry mellow, I always get the artificial, like an artificial banana flavor. I can't explain it. And I don't know why it does that, but it does that from time to time for me. And I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. But I just gonna finish this off, and I want to tell everyone thank you for stopping by, checking in the basement, see how things are going. I am editing today for this actual batch where you will see us back sweetening or racking and back sweetening. So that should be coming out by tomorrow, hopefully. That's if I get my shit together and go upstairs and start editing. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. So let me put all the plugs in. Thank you guys for coming by, the 2 of you that I still have here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the 4 thumbs up. Make sure you drop by my page. Subscribe to the page if you would be so inclined. You can see the long form content of my videos where it's edited and I don't sound like a bubbling retard. Probably can't say that word, but I just did. So regardless if I get canceled, I get canceled. Anyway, drop by the page, subscribe to the page, and see what all kind of crazy shit I got going down in my basement. But I am going to get off here now, and I'm going to go upstairs and start editing. So I will see you at the next episode, or I'll see you next week whenever we do a live stream from the basement. And that is going to conclude it. So I don't know how to finish these. So I'm just going to say, see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.